What's up? What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and I am joined for MVP Sports Live with my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Dave, we are not talking about sports going into the countdown. We were talking about Barstool and their mock drafts on Barstool Chicago.
Yeah, love the Barstool Chicago mock drafts.
So you're watching the sit-down restaurants one?
Yep, sit-down chain restaurants.
Okay. Now, you were telling me Benihana was number one.
Benihana went one overall.
Is that supposed to happen? Not supposed to happen?
Yeah, it was a shocker to me. But the more I thought about it, I was like, that's a unique experience. I agree with him. That's something you don't get anywhere else.
That's the one where they like chop up the meat and throw it in the air and shit.
Yeah,
I just think it's overhyped. Like
the little volcano with the onion,
I'm gonna be the boomer comic.
Show,
Dave.
Ricky.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the boomer comic. I don't need you to throw my meat in the air.
It's dinner and a show. I think I agree. Name something similar to Benihana that's up there. Doesn't exist. There's no sit-down chain restaurant like that.
Medieval
It is
times.
a one of one Benihana. That's why I understand why it went one overall now.
You say dinner and a show. I want medieval times. I get that big ass chicken leg. I get to see.
I don't know if that's coming later, Ricky. I'm not that far in.
Is that a sit-down restaurant?
I would call it a sit-down chain.
Okay.
Yeah, there are multiple of them in different states, and so it's a chain, and you do sit down. I mean, the table scene's a little different, but
yeah,
it's sit-down plates.
Yeah, no, but yeah,
they got my attention, Ricky.
Yeah, my big one was the nerds. How was I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for someone who hasn't seen it, but how is Bill Gates not number one? Like, I would think he would be the king of the nerds. Like, we would not be doing what we're doing now, Dave, without Bill Gates, because computers wouldn't exist.
I would tend to agree with you, yeah.
On your big board, too, Soapy brought this up. How high would Wozniak be above Steve Jobs, or would Jobs be above Wozniak?
Woz has the bigger brain. Jobs is the marketer. He markets, he advertises, he gets how to get people. Like, I think Woz is the nerd. I think Steve Jobs is an innovator.
Okay.
They're different. They're different people. I would take Woz as the nerd.
So you're on the train with Soapy.
Yeah.
Jake said Jobs. Soapy said
Jake's
Woz.
a boomer. I'm sorry, not boomer. He's a zoomer.
A zoomer?
Jake's a zoomer.
Well, not us millennials, by the way.
He doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it. It's okay.
By the way, and yes, we will get to the sports soon.
Eventually.
So I got low key triggered today, Dave, on my millennial side. Because I saw a picture on Facebook that had like somebody with like red in their eyes, like the red rings. And it was like when millennials ask me why so many pictures from back in the day have people with red eyes, I tell them that they were too young and forgot about the great demon uprising of the late 80s. And I was like, motherfucker, I remember those. I remember cameras. It was the flash of the camera left your eyes red. Like, maybe it's because we're elder millennials, Dave, but I got triggered by that. It's like, I remember.
Old camera technology. It did go away. I remember in the early 2000s when they started advertising no red eyes on their cameras. Mm-hmm. That was like a big thing. That was a game changer.
Because you had the fucking red circles in the
eyes.
Yeah,
you got the red rings. Yeah. My cousins always had that stuff. I never really had too often, but I got darker color eyes. Mine are like that blue, yellow kind of mix. Mm-hmm. So
never had the red brown. It always had it. Dark brown always had it.
Yep.
But I saw that and I got low key triggered because I was like, how dare you say all millennial? I am an elder millennial, Dave, like you. We know cord phones and everything.
Damn right.
Not like these younger millennials. But Dave, we're here to talk NBA today. Jake and I talked NFL yesterday. We're talking all NBA today, and it's really uno topica. I don't even know how to say topic in Spanish. I just know uno is one. Dave's going to look it up for me like a G.
Tema.
So uno tema today. We talking draft. We're talking Thunder draft. We didn't hit it on Friday, Dave, so we have to hit it today. And I was thinking to myself, the Thunder have enough picks or will have enough combination of a pick to where this would probably take the entire show, most of it. I also like the other stuff that's coming out, like LaMelo Ball might come back this season. Rookie of the Year.
You mean Mike? He'll be back next week.
Rookie of the Year kid. I almost want to hammer down Rookie of the Year.
I would right now.
Let's see what the odds
are. Do I want an inefficient chucker on one of the worst teams in basketball to be my rookie there? Hell no. I want LaMelo. I want the guy who can take the Hornets to the fucking 4th seed in the East. So that's my guy.
His odds right now, Minus 300, Dave. They're back to low. Now Anthony Edwards is plus 220. So
you missed your window.
I did. Well, I checked when Jake told me about the news yesterday. I checked and all of them were locked. So I'm like, oh, they're changing something. They knew something was up. But yeah, we're looking at the Thunder draft today. Before we get into everything with it, quick housekeeping. Number one, join the Discord if you're not in it already. Greatest community in the universe. You can do that with the link down below or exclamation Discord into Twitch chat. Gets you that link. You can join the Discord community today. If you want to support us, you can check us out on patreon.com/MVPvids, or you can throw us a sub on Twitch. Thank you to our Patreon sponsor, Pat Hill. We're on Twitch, twitch.tv/MVPvids every Monday through Friday. We're on YouTube, MVP Sports. Go ahead, like, sub, follow at all of those places. And the schedule, rest of the week, today's NBA, baseball with Jake and I on Monday, NFL draft a week away from the NFL draft on Thursday, basketball on Friday.
Wednesday, you mean? Wednesday, you and Jake.
Yeah, did I say?
You said Monday.
I
was like, we did not jump from Tuesday to Monday.
Wednesday,
calendars don't work that way.
Wednesday MLB, Thursday NFL draft, Friday NBA, Dave. You were giving that face, and I was like, oh, what did I say wrong? What did I fuck up that the brain's not recognizing what I just said?
Last three, that's all.
Oh, man. But, Dave, we are talking about the Thunder. We are talking about their draft. And if you're new to this, how it works is we kind of go down the list of options for the teams. What if they get number one, top three, top four, after top five? The Thunder are a unique team, Dave, because they have options.
They have not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 fucking picks this year.
So looking at the lowdown, they're going to have their own pick for sure. Then their second first round pick, it's either going to be right now it's Miami's pick, because Houston's pick is top 4. If Houston falls out of the top 4, they'll get their own and the Houston pick, or the two most favorable between OKC, Miami, and Houston, which, let's be honest, would be OKC
Houston,
and Houston. And least favorable to Houston. So if Houston falls out of the top 5 or top 4, they get Miami's. The Thunder would get both theirs, and then the Thunder have 3 second-round picks. So no matter what, they're having 5 picks in this draft, unless they trade 3 of them to move up and do that. I'll just start there. Before we start with number 1, we thought, and I thought, last year before, that Sam Presti was going to move picks to move up. Do you think that's the plan? Or are the Thunder just going to be that team where we're just going to wait and see who falls to us, and then we're just going to pick our spot, picking the best guys that are on our board?
I feel like Sam Presti is a opportunist.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy who, if there's a deal to be had, he will be ultimately instigating it. He's going to be asking, like, I mean, would you guys be considering moving back a little bit? Like, we got a couple picks. We could make an up and back deal. You know, we could go up a couple spots. You go back a couple and get some extra insurance down the line. It's a win-win deal, guys. Like, he is not Danny Ainge.
Yeah.
Let's put that out there. For all of those out there who haven't been here for my
He won't sit on his hands, Dave?
Numerous rants about Danny Ainge and riding the fucking glory days. This man can't get out of his own goddamn way. And that's why the Celtics aren't going to win a championship. Because it's like, but we had all these picks. What did you do with them all? You got a fucking 5'8" midget who can't play in the fucking backcourt in the NBA. Great job there. You're really screwed over the Sixers by stealing away Matisse Thybulle, who is one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, and it's not even fucking close.
Yeah.
But you stole him, and then you're like, we'll give him to you for that midget, and then another later pick. Like, great move, guy. Like, who's getting the value here? It's just
you're talking about Kemba Walker, right?
No,
Marcus Smart.
No. Mark Smart, I straight respect.
I know.
Walker,
I'm trying to think who the short guy.
Carson Edwards, Ricky.
Carson Edwards. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, turns out the bow-legged midget, not great at NBA level basketball. He's
really good in college, though. I loved him in
really college. Good college player. Love him in the summer league, but he is not good enough to start for a championship contending team. He's not good enough for a bench player on that team. That's why they had to go out and get Fast PP out there, because mostly. We need someone who can play a little 3-and-D out there. We need someone who can ball handle. Like, he nailed a later pick with Peyton Pritchard, which is great. Romeo Langford's finally seen the court. But, like, that whole Celtics organization should have traded up. They had so many picks and they never did. And that was always the argument. And that was always the conversation come draft time was they got the war chest. Will they do that? Should they do that? Can they do that? And the answer is no at all times because they're fucking Danny Ainge led idiots. So when we talk about the Thunder, I see an opportunist. I see someone who is always looking for the best possible deal. He's got 40-something picks in the next 8 years.
Yeah.
Now, if there's a talent that is insane level talent, like this is can't miss generational talent, I have no doubt in my mind that he will go get him. Yeah. No doubt. I think this is a team who, if they fall in love with Jalen Green and they're like, our future backcourt is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Dort, and Green. That we're going to run 3-man lineups. We're going to dominate the NBA. That's the answer. Great. Or if they would fall in love with Mobley, they're going to go ahead and go get Mobley out there. Like that is the confidence I have in this front office right now in the Thunder. The fact that they're getting away with tanking and just blatantly doing it is hilarious. Like, yeah, Al Horford, just chill, man. I know we're only 2 months in the season. Just go home and chill. Like, go take a vacation, man. Don't worry about it.
Like,
George Hill, catch you later, man. You enjoy your time. We'll call you when you've been traded to a new team. Don't worry about it, though. Shai's got a shoulder injury now, so he can't play.
Yeah.
Like, they're masters of the tank, and it's hilarious that other teams are getting fined for their situation.
We're seeing the tank wars in full effect, Dave.
Oh, it's insane.
That Cavalier Piston game, I was so upset, Dave, because I looked at the lineup the Pistons had, and I was like, dude, Sexton and Garland are playing, Allen's playing. There's no way the Cavs lose this game, Dave. Hammer it done! Hammer it done!
You too.
Oh, man. And then I'm like, how? How'd you not win that game?
Yeah. So, like, that's the thing. I agree with you. The tank war right now is insane.
Yeah.
Houston's been playing up. They've been incredibly hilarious to watch play. Cavs, you mentioned it. Pistons are doing it. I think the Spurs got fined because of a lineup thing. The Raptors have been fined. Like, the Raptors are doing some hilarious shit up there.
Yeah.
So when you look at all these teams at the bottom, all clearly knowing what they're doing, this year is the year. This year there are 5 possible picks, I think in most people's minds, that are locks. 1 through 5 is a lock as far as the talent going. I think the 5th one is a little spicy because a lot of people aren't sure if they like Kuminga going 5 or if someone else is now taking that spot from him. But for the 1 through 4 is at least a lock. 5 is probably a lock in most people's minds because Kuminga is someone who is that athletic wing of the future. He can ball handle, go downhill. He does all the fun things that you want out of your future star wing.
Yeah.
But he's so young. And that's what you excuse the fact that he's a little raw because he's literally a year younger than a lot of the kids coming out in the draft this year.
And one of the things that I'm thinking about that I have not voiced my opinion on yet, Dave, is the draft lottery and how rigged it is. Like Zion to the Pelicans after they traded AD. In my mind, this is the part of the year, Dave, where I start to formulate the tinfoil hat comes on. There's 2 teams that I think get the number 1 pick.
Who gets the nod this year?
It's either the Thunder, because they're going to be like, Cade went to Oklahoma State. We want to keep him in Oklahoma. He'll be the savior of Oklahoma City. Or do the Rockets get it because they literally just did the same thing that the Pelicans did?
Where it's like, hey, 2 all NBA level talents.
It's like we're going to trade him. We're going to trade him to a title contender. We're going to help the NBA in the long run, make the playoffs more interesting.
Yes.
A franchise in a city that, like, New York, I mean, they're not New Jersey anymore. They're in Brooklyn. But, like, New York, it's a high market. So we're going to send them there, make the NBA some money. Those are the 2 teams I'm locked on for number 1. Either the Thunder, hometown kid, Derrick Rose style, or Anthony Davis style, Rockets keep their pick.
Yeah. Mad Rogue, it did happen. The AD deal was done before Zion was drafted. That was locked in. But I mean, it was already you've been gifted this player because we're taking Anthony Davis away from the small market. We will give you a Zion Williamson so you don't lose out on your media money.
Yeah.
I agree. Like I am 100% in with you. My only background thought is that Raptors team, that one, I mean, they're in the middle, but I could see some lotto magic happen. They lost Kawhi Leonard. They lost, obviously, Ibaka, Gasol. Their team's been just gutted out from behind it. So that's a team which I could sort of see because, again, they've had to play this whole year in Tampa Bay. Like, this is a different situation. So, like, a nice going home reinvigorate the Canadian basketball scene, who is just pumping out a lot of talent these days. I don't know if you've checked in on the prospect rankings. There's a lot of young Canadian players coming up and through, so that could be a fun thing. Give back to Canada as far as the tinfoil conversation goes. But I agree. You got two perfect teams there who could go top. But, I mean, Thunder go 1, they take Cade. Like, that's.
Here's the thing, and I do want to throw this out. I was talked into, like, my first thought, because in one of the, like, mock drafts I was working on, the Thunder were the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
And Cade is the best talent in the draft. He's number 1 on my big board. But I think the Thunder are one of the only teams where there's at least a discussion at number 1. Because I look at this roster, and I think Evan Mobley would fit really good on it. Now, don't get me wrong. Cade and Shea would be a wet dream. That would just be a wet dream all over itself. But I like, and yet again, if you're drafting a Mobley, you're expecting Poku to, like, ascend in his potential.
I mean, have you seen him?
But it's like, I like the option of, and maybe this isn't a number 1 thing. This is like if they're 2 and Cade's off the board, Mobley's their guy. But, like, I look at their roster and I go, Mobley wouldn't be bad for it. But would he be a better option than Cade Cunningham, sticking Cade next to Shea?
Dude, I can't make the argument. There's only one man who I have who would be an argument with Cade, and it's not Mobley.
It's JG4.
It would be JG4. Yeah. And I think Cade would be an ideal fit next to Shea. He's another creator on the court. You can't have enough of those. And because of Dort's flexibility, you can always find the right matchup on the defensive side. Say you're playing an ultra-athletic wing out there, Cade doesn't have the first step that is ideal by NBA standards, throw Dort on him. Don't even care.
Yeah.
Just it's an easy fix. Like, you have versatility on the defensive side. Baisley's another guy who gives them versatility on who he defends, who he can match up with on that side. So I think Cade's a really nice fit out there because you can call him a point guard, you can call him a wing, whatever he is. That lineup can work with him because they have great supporting pieces around him to grow with him. So let him create, let him score. He works really well with Shea as 2 individual ball creators. I think they would absolutely thrive with that lineup. Yes.
Here's my only concern with Cade, and it's not BPA. If you're going BPA, you take Cade at 1. Here's my only concern with, like, the K Shea thing is, are any of them do you need a true point guard in the system? Do you need that point guard that's like, okay, I'm going to be more of the facilitator, you're going to be more of the scorer? Or is this a situation where it's kind of like Cleveland, to where it's like, we're just going to stick two guards next to each other that can play the 1 and the 2. Realistically, it's Garland at the 1, Sexton at the 2. They're just both scorers, and we're just going to run with that system and then have the rest of our team. Like, the Thunder are different because they don't have, like, a Jared Allen down low. They have more wing, like Dort, Baisley, Isaiah Roby has been playing well in some of the games. But, like, if Cade's the pick, is Cade in the starting lineup right away? Is he like LaMelo? And, like, what's your start? Like, because you have basically them 4 people for 3 spots. Like, who takes the dip to the second lineup?
What do you mean you have 4 people for 3 spots?
Or are you just are you having it to where it's Shea, Cade, Dort, and Baisley 1 through 4, and then Poku at the 5?
Cade would be your 3.
Okay. So you're having Shea, Dort, and Cade, and then Baisley at the 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Poku at the 4, Baisley at the 5, if you have to put Poku in the starting lineup, which I don't know necessarily matchup-wise it's ideal for them short term.
Yeah.
I think Poku off the bench gives them something that the other teams just can't match up
could
against.
Next year just be another tank year because they have all the picks, Dave?
Hey, every year could be a tank year. I mean, let's be honest, but I think you do undervalue what Garland is doing this year. I think he is a completely different player than he was last year. I mean, just think about it. His assist-to-turnover ratio has completely flipped. He's up to about 6 assists to 3 turnovers, and he's been getting better over time. Like, rookie year, it was 3.9 to 2.6, going to 6.1 to 3. Like, he has evolved as a playmaker. He is back to being baby Kyrie again.
Okay.
He's definitely a playmaker. Garland still can't pass the ball, but he just chooses not to. I think that is just when he touches the ball, the blinders just go.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to score the basketball. There's no one on the court with me.
Yeah, Cade's not that guy. And you don't have to play Cade at the one. He's not Ben Simmons. He's not going to be able to match up defensively with other ones on the other side of the ball. So play Cade at the 3 on offense. You know, he can ball handle like a wing and be an excellent guy. But then you got, like I said, 2 guys who can flip up or down in that rotation between Dort and Shea's no slouch on defense either.
Yeah.
But like, I think that is their ideal lineup. Yes. I think Cade comes in, starts right away. And I think he thrives. I think that this roster would thrive. Now, would they be a top team in the West? Fuck no. Because the West is hilarious. But they would be competitive. They would be in the same realm as maybe, you know, where the Memphis Grizzlies are. They would be in that, like, we're going to fight for 10 through 6. That seems like about right.
But here's also the thing you have to, here's the other thing you have to think about is this is not a 1-year project, a 2-year project.
Exactly.
This is like, if I'm pulling up the future draft picks that we had, again, it's like 30, I think it was like 34 plus picks in the next like 3 years.
It's more than that. It's like 40
they have,
something.
So like next year, they'll have their own first if it's 1 through 14. They'll have Atlanta's first if it's 15 through 30. They already have the Clippers first next year, and then Phoenix's first because Phoenix is going to be a good team and they'll be in the playoffs again, 13 through 30. So there's a potential that they have 1, 2, 3, 4 first-round picks next year. Then the year after, they either own or swap with the Clippers. They'll probably have their own because I don't see them better than the Clippers. Phoenix will probably be settled, so they won't have Phoenix's, but then they'll have Denver and possibly Miami's. So that's 3 first-round picks in 2023, and then another possible 2. So they'll have their own in the Clippers because I think Denver, Miami, and Phoenix are all settled by 2024. So it's like you're going to have 2 this year, 3 next year, 3 the next year, or no, 2 this year, potential 4 next year, 3 the year after, and then 2 the year after that. Like
with a million seconds.
Yeah. This is a project where it's like, what is this team going to look like after? Like after 2023, then we're talking about, okay, this team is kind of constructed with, like, at that point, Cade would be a going into his 3rd year?
Yeah.
So like Shea's in his X amount of year, Cade's there. Like that's the other thing. These guys' contracts may be coming up in that time. Like you've got Lou Dort. Let's see.
Lou Dort signed for a nothing deal, which is hilarious.
Lou Dort's up in 2024 I'm sorry, 2023.
Yeah, making that cool, like 1.5 mil.
Yep.
That man has got to renegotiate.
1.5 by the last year, it goes up to 1.9.
Oh, no, 1.9.
Shea's an RFA after next season. Yeah. Baisley's an RFA the same time Dort hits free agency. And then you got Poku as an RFA the year after in 2024. So it's like, even if some of these guys that are on the team right now don't pan out, they just get rid of them. Like if they don't want Dort because they drafted someone else that fits something else, like they could just let them go. And what are they going to accumulate?
Watch them with Amadou. Amadou was basically flipped out the door because like we don't want to pay you.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and kick the tires on Svi. And just go from there. So
with the game I watched in Tampa, he could not hit the broadside of a barn in that game.
Yeah, he goes hot and cold. That man is hot or cold.
I was like, I need Kansas Svi. Come on, I need Kansas Svi.
This team has so many options as far as their talent, what direction they go. That's why I'm excited to see where they can move those picks at, because I think that this year, if they get top 4 themselves or top 5 themselves, great. I don't think another team will trade out of that situation.
Yeah.
I don't see another team unless we see one of those massive like flops back from, pick number 12 goes up to 3 or whatever it is. I don't see that happening, that they're going to be able to get a second top 5 pick in this class. I just feel like it's so can't miss. The teams are so like locked in on these guys. Maybe in the future they'll be able to flip up, or maybe for pick like 7, 8, maybe mid lotto, they could go get a second guy. That could be a situation. But is there that second guy mid lotto that they would want to have as an addition to the team? Like, who else jumps off the board? Or are they just like, hey, we're comfortable, sitting where we're at. So, if we get 1 through 5, we'll take BPA regardless of position.
Yeah.
And then we got pick 16 right now. Hey, If somebody incredibly talented falls to us, we'll take them.
So I got a situation for you then.
Yeah.
And this is the only situation I kind of can think of off the top of my head where I can see a team being like, yeah, we'll trade back with you. So I was simming the lottery until I got two things to happen. One, the Thunder did not get a top 4 pick. And two, the Wolves did not get a top 4 pick. So the top 4 would be, in this simulation, Cade Cunningham would be a king. Luke Walton better be fired. Number 2 would be Evan Mobley to the Wizards. They'd be like, hallelujah. The Cavs then would take JG4.
Terrible fit.
And then the Rockets would take Jalen Suggs, is what Tankathon has. After that, at 5, the Warriors. Would the Warriors be a team that's like, we're going to take either a Kuminga or just the best player on our board? Or would they be like, all right, we're interested in talking, like maybe a pick swap and then one of your picks next year? Would the Warriors be interested in that? And could the Thunder then move up? But at that point, if let's say Cade, Mobley, JG4, and Suggs are off the board, who would the Thunder want to move up for? If you're Sam Presti, who are you moving up for? Is it Kuminga?
Yeah, it would be Kuminga. That's the thing. Like, we watched them. They literally were like, we love Pokusevski. Yeah. We're going to go up and get him. Remember, they had to trade up to get him. They had to trade up to secure that guy who they felt was so talented and was falling. So we got to snatch that up. So if they see someone falling, that's the question. I think Kuminga's, out of the top 5, the least developed talent, but he's also incredibly young. So perfect fit for this team and this timeline. So if they could go up and get 5, sure, if they have to. If they get pushed out of the lottery, that's what you're saying, obviously, or the top 5. Yeah, they could do it. And then the Warriors, I could see the Warriors trading out of that pick as well, just as easily, because Kuminga's not going to help them win a championship this year or next year. I mean, shit, Wiseman's having a hard enough time trying to contribute as the number 2 overall pick. I mean, I get it. You didn't play much basketball in college. And we had no training camps or really anything. So they're a team who's probably looking to flip that pick. Maybe Wiseman, maybe Wiggins, maybe a sign and trade Oubre, like whatever it takes to get that deal done to add more talent that is win now ready. I think that would be likely for the Warriors. Yeah,
because let's say, because in this scenario the Thunder would be at 8. I know, Dave, you're saying he's fallen out of the top 10, but probably one of the only scenarios I could see him in the top 10 is if the Warriors were 8 and if they felt like, hey, Corey Kispert could fit our system, like with his shooting, and that's what our system revolves on, is shooting. Like they could find someone at 8, I'm saying, to help them now and get an additional pick rather than just take Kuminga. Mad Rogue has an interesting thought. He says, do you think the Thunder might try to pull off a Jason Tatum trade like the Celtics and trade the number 1 for another core piece and an extra pick? I'll say this: if they are the ones moving up, like I think it was the Sixers moved up with the Celtics, I don't think they do that, because I don't think a team. Here's the thing about that draft class was like that year there was no for sure. Like this year it's like most people are saying Cade Cunningham number 1. There are a few people that argue it, but for the most part, Cade Cunningham is number 1. Remember that year, we had 2 or 3 different topics, Dave, where on the fast break, we discussed, should Lonzo or Markelle be the number 1 pick? Like,
you were wrong every time. You were just being a shitlord.
No, I liked Lonzo. Like that was not me just going against Markelle.
Prospect in that class, and it's not even close.
But what I'm saying is,
numbers in college made Cade Cunningham look like a pedestrian.
What I'm saying is,
one of the best college runs with no holes in his game. It was not even close how much better than Lonzo Ball he was.
The thing I'm getting at, though, is even if you looked at draft experts and big boards, there was no consensus, number 1.
I disagree completely.
Where it was, there was always a comment. Should it be Lonzo? Should it be Markelle? Like, those were the 2. And I felt like everyone was automatically having Tatum at 3. To where this year, I feel like whoever's at 1, the Thunder at 1, or if the Rockets are at 1, it's just Cade Cunningham. They're not even going to think about it. They're not even going to think about it. And if someone calls, they do this. Oh, that's cute. Boom. Ignore. Like, that's it.
It's the same thing as Zion Williamson. It was just he was going number 1. There was no questioning it. Just he's the difference maker of this class. So do it.
So, like, to answer that question, no, they're not. If they get number one, they're not going to trade out of it.
No.
And I don't think if they try to trade for one, like, do they have the ammunition to trade for one? Absolutely. Like, I mean, that could be a question I ask you. If they're, let's say the Rockets are at 1 and the Thunder are at 5 or 4 or 3, should the Rockets empty the war chest, the Oklahoma City war chest, to try to move up and get Cade? Is it that important that they get the number 1 pick?
Well, I mean, just think about how much less the number 4 pick gets paid than the number 1 pick. That's what the Rockets ownership is going. Save a couple mil here. We could save a couple mil. And actually, we'll throw in John Wall. We'll give you John Wall and the number 1 pick for 7 first-rounders. Deal? Would you do that?
I would have to take on John Wall if I'm the Thunder.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I would do that. Let me see John Wall's contract.
And 7 might be the wrong number, but for several first rounds.
Dave's like, I'm just throwing out a number.
I'm just trying to see what would, because that's the thing. It's just John Wall makes a lot of money, and that is some cheap fucking ownership. Cheap ownership.
So here's the first question I would have.
Yep.
Do you think John Wall's not opting out in 2022?
God, no.
So you're keeping him so you have him for 2 more years after this one. I mean, like, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. You get Cade Cunningham. John Wall definitely isn't the future. Like, even with John Wall on this team, like, look at the Rockets. They have John Wall and they're not winning. No. So just because you have John Wall on your team doesn't mean you're going to win. It would suck for John Wall because unless the Thunder could work a trade out with someone else, he's stuck in OKC, potentially losing more games. Like,
that's on him.
Yeah, I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world to eat that. Like we said earlier, this is a 2 to 3, maybe a 4-year kind of project with how many draft picks.
I mean, Shea's an excellent player. He's already putting up ridiculous numbers. Dort's already, top 20 in the league in defense, and he's switchable.
Yeah.
Poku they're just letting him play to play right now. Yeah. Baisley is low key fantastic. Like, I don't think they're that many pieces away from being a spooky team in the West. I think you add in this year's picks and one off season of, free agency, they could compete, if they're going to continue the play-in game
for the play-in tournament, Dave.
They could compete for that next year. Like, they're not that far away. They are intentionally sucking right now.
Yeah.
Teo is doing well. Like, they've got so many young guys. It's just like no rush. I mean, legitimately, like, Al Horford is still a tradable piece after next season because he'll be on the final year of his deal, I think, then, right?
2 more years.
2 more? Yikes.
Yeah, he's got 21-22 and then 22-23. So he's got 2 years.
Okay.
21-22, 22-23.
I still think he gets moved this offseason.
I do too. Like, there's a team that would, like, there's looking at the buyout market this year too. Like, there might be a playoff team that's like, hey, instead of waiting for that that buyout market, let's try to trade for something.
Also, I mean, the free agency market pretty much shriveled up and died. Everybody kind of re-upped for their deals, so you don't have that, like, massive pool. So somebody could take him on and not have to sacrifice too much for it in the short term. So
yeah. Another question I'll ask is, so we've talked a lot about the top of the draft.
Yes, sir.
Let's say the Rockets keep their pick and the Thunder are not trading to get number 1.
Yep. Right
now, the Miami Heat pick is 16.
Yep.
Are there any guys, like, let's say they're at 5. Would you agree on this? Like, we'll do this. Rockets take Cade at 1.
Yep.
Who are the T-Wolves taking at 2? Would it be Suggs like Tankathon says?
I think they would probably go Mobley.
Okay, so they go Mobley. Detroit at 3, they would probably go JG 4?
100%.
And then the Magic at 4 would
take Suggs.
Would take Suggs, and then does that mean the Thunder just automatically take Kuminga?
Yep.
Okay. So the Thunder have taken Kuminga at 5. Who should they take at 16 if they have the Heat pick and not the Rocket pick?
All right. So 16. Let me think about this because everybody's big boards are going to be a little different. Mine's very different, I think, than
because to me, if they go wing or front court, I almost look at it and go, okay, what's the backcourt? What backcourt guys are there? Or like, does it matter? Would they double up on front court with the guys they already have? Because their backcourt's kind of thin. Like Tony Bradley up this year, he's an RFA. They can bring him back. They've got Poku, Mike Muscala is up this year. Do they bring him back? But he's like a bench rotation guy. Like their backcourt is thin. So like to me, it's like, is that where you start? You look at the 4s and the 5s.
Hey, isn't that their front court?
Backcourt.
Backcourt is.
You're right. I'm fucking them up. Backcourt's the court. The bigs. They have thin bigs, Dave. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. Kai Jones, then. Okay. If he's still on the board, Kai Jones would be an excellent pickup. Mm-hmm. I would expect Sengun's going to be gone before then. I think Kai Jones might be the next best available big if you're going for that. I mean, Jalen Johnson's got a potential to fall. And I low-key think that they're like...
a prime position for him?
I mean, they would move up for him, I think.
Okay.
He seems like they like... Again... He's a raw prospect because he didn't play much in college. He had injury, then he obviously had some issues off the court. I think if they see him falling, I think the talent, if he has good workouts, he could work his way into a situation where the Thunder would trade up for him. But we're talking strictly at 16 or 15, wherever they are currently.
Trade ups are in play because like this is realistic, Dave. Like, I mean, to me, I look at it, and of course my page reset on me. Like, it all depends. Like, Kai Jones should be there. Another name, like, it's interesting because Big Board to Mock Draft and, like, Tankathon to me is an interesting website because they have Garaba. I hope I'm saying that right. Usman. They have him at 28th on their Big Board, but then they have the Thunder going with him at 16. So, like, do they reach for a big man? Do they reach? Or with
Is that reach for one of the most polished big man who's been playing with grown-ass adults since he was 15.
I only say a reach because I assume and yet again, I'm using like the same source. Like, for example, if it was your big board and your mock, and you had Usman at 30 on your big board, but then he got taken at 11, that to me would be a reach because like on your big board, he's way lower than what 11 is. Yep. I say like, that's the thing. Like if they get 16, 17 where the Heat are, they could just trade up again. Here's the thing. They have the ammo next year with the possible 5 picks.
They have the ammo next year. They have the year after that. They have they can do whatever they want. That's why I'm saying I don't think they're going for a specific position. I think they're playing let the board lie, let it lie where it falls. Whatever that phrase is. Let it fall where it lies. Yeah. Kind of thing. Because if they see someone they love who's talented, who's falling, they will 100% go get him. If they think Jaden Springer's the ultimate pairing to go with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they're going to go get him. Like, that's the awesome thing about this. I love Jaden as someone who is incredibly young, played in an old school offense in Tennessee that didn't let him shine. And now we're going to get to see what he can do. And we already know he can play defense. He played next to Keon. They had an amazing pairing. Him, Shea, Dort could be discussed out there. Like, but they have Teo. So, what do you think about that? The answer is doesn't even factor into it, Ricky. I think there's no loyalty in this front office. I think that you're right. They're going, we're going to take BPA every available position and use our time during the season, use our time in the G League to filter out who we want to be on this team because winning and losing doesn't matter to us right now. They are a blank check season for the next 2 years. Well, there's no expectations to win. The fans love them, and it doesn't matter. The wins and losses don't matter to this team. So they're in the ultimate position to just try things out.
There's also the possibility in my mind to where they could even trade back. And this is if they have 16. If they have 2 top 4 picks, or top 10 picks with the Rockets and the Thunder, but the 2 things that interest me if a trade back was going to happen, like in the situation where everything falls right now, if they're at 16 and let's say the Knicks or the Rockets, someone is falling and they're like, we really want that guy. And the Thunder are like, he's not really on our board. Could they swindle? But like, could we see where like the Knicks or the Rockets give up their double picks because the Knicks have their own and the Dallas pick, and then the Rockets have the Blazer pick and the Bucks pick. So like for me, there's a possibility. I look at the Rockets more because like there's a lot of people I'm seeing that are saying, oh, they'll go with a 4 and a 5 with both of those picks. Well, why go with 2 players there when you could possibly, if one of the bigs is falling by like 16, hey, we'll give you these 2 first. You'll have more ammunition for us to move up to you at 16 if they like someone. Like, that's the big thing. Who's going to like who as we get closer to the draft?
It only takes one GM to fall in love to make that deal happen, too.
Sometimes fall in love so much that you only watch them, Dave. Everyone else at that position just does not exist, right?
This is a NBA topic.
Yep, I know.
We will keep it to the NBA.
Oh, but you were going to say.
I don't disagree with you, though. Mm-hmm. I think that it's very easy to fall in love, and I think that there are some teams who would probably trade up for some of these thinner positions in the draft. Like you said, center is everyone sees it go Mobley, Sengun, and then it's a toss-up between, do you believe Kai Jones as the athletic hype guy? Do you think that someone like Usman's going to be, even though he is limited in his role, he's an excellent defender with his size, and his offensive game can continue to grow. He's been playing against grown men, like I said earlier. And then you kind of fall into that like secondary grouping of, all right, now we have to figure out who the next center is. Is it going to be Mamu? Is it going to be Kofi? Is it going to be someone like Luka Garza? Like, you've got to figure that shit out. Daron Sharp, someone else who is, TT basically. He's got a little Tristan Thompson to his game. He's a bouncy guy who loves going after boards. So like, it's almost like you have to find your type at that point because they all bring something a little different, even though they play the same position.
I got a question for you. Do you have your big board up, Dave?
I do. I'm referencing.
Where is Giddey on your big board?
Giddey is 8.
Okay. So let's say Giddey fell out of the top 5 because Jake loves Giddey as well. Let's say he fell out of the top 10.
Okay.
If he's there at 16,
yes.
Do the Thunder take him, or does a team try to trade up with the Thunder, and that's where we see a trade back?
No, the Thunder, if he's there at 11, 12,
they trade up.
The Thunder are making phone calls. Yeah. They are getting on the phone.
I think a lot of teams are making phone calls if he falls out of the top 10.
I think that the more people are watching of him now, the more they're realizing this kid actually, like, as limited of a player he is, he's got the body. And at 6'8", with his handle, and the thing is like, he doesn't have an incredible shot. He's not this amazing finisher at the cup. Yeah. He's just got great size, great floor vision, rebounds, assists. He will go after it and try hard, but he's not the guy who's going to put up, the LeBron nights of 30, 10, and 10 kind of shit.
Yeah.
But he is someone who can give you that, ultra wing experience out there. A lot of people are being lazy, as I love to call them, and being like, he's Joe Ingles plus. And I'm like, how incredibly lazy of you to mock the Australian the Australian.
Joe Giddey, or Josh Giddey, I'm fucking up his name. Josh Giddey himself compared him to another Aussie in Ben Simmons. Said he sees a lot of Ben Simmons in himself.
Can't defend a fucking lick of Ben Simmons, but you know what? I think they're not that far apart. Like, he's got a better shot than Ben Simmons, or at least he doesn't have the fucking cowardice that Ben Simmons has, where he will refuse to shoot the goddamn ball.
Three ball, pass it.
Yeah, not gonna do that. So I think that, yes, if that would be like, if this year's talent pool, if you're looking for someone who might fall, I mean, Jalen Johnson is the number 1 likely candidate to fall for his talent on the board. Giddey would be number 2 in my mind. Sengun, I think it's a very much a love-hate thing. Guys who think centers are still worth top picks and see his game, 100% worth it in my mind. Other people who say he doesn't do anything quote-unquote special at the position. He's just an old-school guy who can work the fucking paint and get his and play really well for his age against grown men again. I think he's someone who the right team has to find him. So if they don't, he could fall. Those are 3 guys who I would say like highest chance of on my big board. They're much higher than, the Tankathons, the Draft Expresses, the common big boards out there that you see.
And plus different people like different things.
100%. 100%. So that's the thing. Like, I think those 3 guys are incredibly talented. I think that, but once you start talking later in the draft, where they've got, more of these picks, That's when I'm looking for the wild swings. That's when I'm looking for the Rocco. Like that one is that excites me because I think that like they memed it a little bit, but it's 100% spot on in my mind. If he's there, take him. There's just so many different prospects because this team. You talked about the roster. They only have so many roster slots.
Is it
5 picks?
Is it bad that I'm really excited about their second round, like the picks that they could make in the second round?
Yeah, I mean, they got 31, 35, 55 right now.
Now, yet again, Tankathon's its own thing, but if 2 of these picks, Dave, happen, I am buying 2 Thunder jerseys, and the Thunder are becoming my second team. Like,
I understand.
I feel like, one, if they get Evan Mobley, this changes, but like at 31, where Tankathon has Naminas Queta, this kid's going to be interesting because there's a possibility in my mind he's a first-round talent. At the bottom end, like 25 through 30, because kid can block a shot like no other and plays great defense down low. If he's there at 31, grab him, because like I said, the depth at the 4 and the 5 is basically non-existent for the Thunder. And if Io DeSumo went there at 35, I would have to be a Thunder fan, Dave. I would have to be a Thunder fan.
I understand. This is Tankathon speaking directly to you here, Ricky. This was like a gift. It was like, the 2 guys you've been repping for the last month, here you go.
But the thing is, I would get an IO Supersonics jersey because bring back the Sonics, Dave.
They probably will be a team in the next 3 years. You know that, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the Kraken are coming next year. Then the Sonics.
Yeah, it's happening. One of the guys who I think is interesting in this class, and I can't get a beat on where he's going to go. So you tell me if you think he'll go with their later first or that like very top of the second.
Is it BJ?
It wasn't going to be BJ. It was going to be Isaiah Todd. But I want to hit both of these people because I think Isaiah Todd's someone who started off the G League looking like he didn't know he was on a basketball court, but he finished off looking like potentially one of the better floor spacing bigs out there. You know, he's probably going to be a power forward who can stroke it from 3, who can put the ball on the floor, but is still learning the game of basketball very much. Whereas BJ Boston is someone who just had one of the worst shooting performances out of a college athlete that I've ever seen.
I would say
over an entire season.
If I had to put my money on which one would be a first-round talent or a first-round pick first, I would probably say BJ. Not because I like him or anything. I just feel like Isaiah Todd is a second-round pick.
Okay.
Like I think that BJ Boston, like there are other guys that if I am, let's say 27 through 30, there are other guys that I would be looking at above these 2. Queta
trying to sneak up maybe with 31-55 and try to get back into that 27, 28 to get that contract.
Because like there's interesting guys in the second round, and of course my Tankathon page refreshes on me. Like I really like Queta. I really like DeSumo, obviously.
Yeah, I think DeSumo will be a first.
I really do. If Joel Ayayi is there, he's worth a look at the end. Dacian Nix, how he has fallen.
Dacian Nix should be a first.
Like, I mean, I like Miles McBride. I would at least take a look at him. Nashawn Highland, Jake's boy from VCU. I think he would get a look. Like, these are all guys that I feel like that I would take looks at before.
But Ricky, where's your athletic wing with raw potential? That is the calling card of the OKC Thunder.
That's the Presti way.
Are we talking like, ooh, I have a faller for you. Like BJ Boston fits that. God, I'll just throw that out there. BJ Boston fits the idea of a athletic wing faller because he's got the body where he should be an NBA like level, but his shot literally couldn't fall.
Would Quentin Grimes be a pick they look at? Like a Quentin Grimes or a Scotty Lewis?
Scotty Lewis more so. I mean, obviously Terrence Mann way more than both of those guys. Like Mann, I think could go 16. I think if they keep that pick,
Trey Mann needs to go to the Clippers, Dave. We need Terrence Mann and Trey Mann on the same team. TM2, baby.
I'm telling you, Mann, he'll probably go. Like I could see him going 16.
Okay,
I think he's got that kind of hype right now. But getting back to it, what was I saying?
You were saying...
Fallers.
Yeah.
Zaire Williams. He's someone who... I've seen him go all the way to the bottom of the first round. Is he someone who would intrigue you enough to try to tackle as a project player? Because some people still think he's lotto talent after what they saw.
Tankathon has him at 17.
Yeah.
I would probably lean towards the former Dave, where I'd probably pass on him. Only because, like, if you think the potential's there and you can tap into it, I wouldn't believe. Like, that would be a mine that I would not tap, Dave. Like, I don't think there's any gold there. At the end of the day, I think there's other, like, for example, if it's between Zaire Williams and Josh Giddey, the Tankathon has that decision at 17-16. I'm taking Giddey 10 times 100%. Out of 10. Like, there's even guys, and yet again, this is all over the place, that are later in the draft, and I'm still shocked that Jared Butler's so low.
That makes no sense to me. Yep.
Your boy Sharif, I understand it in most people's mind because they look at height and just think short guy not going to make it.
100% understand.
Also, I would say they would look at the success of Auburn this year and probably like they're taking that out on Sharif Cooper. But the one thing
I came in halfway through a season, no big deal.
The one thing I keep thinking though, Dave, is Dave falls in love with these point guards. They usually pan out. Like Ja Morant being one of them.
Basketball prospects is one thing, Ricky, I have a really good track record with. Now, I will admit when I'm wrong. I did not see Beef Stew being the fucking beast he is for the Pistons. That did not happen to me. I did not know that he would be.
But the McDaniels?
I was so right. I was incredibly right about the McDaniels.
See, and that's the thing I love about us. You're like that on the NBA side. I'm like that on the football side.
Yes,
like, we got both covered. But like
that's why this class, like, I'm so excited because I think this is one of those classes where NBA scouts will earn theirs because there's so many guys who fall in that, like,
thank God we don't have.
Could just group them and be like, they're all kind of the same. They're not. They're absolutely not. But I feel like most media market, like most mocks, most things have these guys bunched up in these packs, and I'm like, he's up here, he's way down, fucking there. Like I feel like this class is so hard to read as far as those expectations because of how unique this year was.
Do you think Jaden Springer falls? Because like I was shocked
when I've how low he is already.
Tankathon has him at 26 to the Nets.
That is insanity.
I was like, and yet again, I was using this as like Iota Sumu, like.
Io's going
like ammo
round.
To where it's like
Jaden Springer's not going below 20.
I was like, but Jaden Springer is better point guard prospect than Iota Sumu.
Jaden Springer's still 18, motherfucker.
Oh, I know. He's younger. He's a lot younger. Yeah, he is 18. He's 18 and a half, just over that.
So
Io
I'm sorry.
Is just going to be 21 and a half. Io can drink legally.
Yeah. We have one of the youngest point guard prospects on a fantastic defensive team with an offensive system that was ran in the 1980s. Yeah. Like, are you telling me that he's not going to shine in the NBA? He's 100% going to shine. Like, this is such a dumb thing that people think that they've got Keon so much higher than him. They're insane. It's the same thing to me with Davion Mitchell and Jared Butler. I don't get it. This film tells me one thing, and then the fans are all like, but look at his plays. Look at the highlight reel. Don't give a fuck. Look at every play in the game. Yeah, look at which guy is carrying who.
Davion's at 15, Jared Butler's at 21. However, if Jared Butler was at 21, I would really like that fit with the Hawks. Because could you imagine Butler and Trey next to it? Like, again, just adds defense next to Trey. Like, we have a point guard who has a deficiency. Let's make up for it.
Yeah. And that's the nice thing with Thunder in a situation where you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's good at everything. He's just a well-rounded guard. There's not one area where he really fails at. He is comfortable taking shots. He's comfortable driving in the rim. He's comfortable playing defense. He's comfortable on switches. He's played defense against threes. He's played against twos. He's played against ones. He is a versatile guy. So, like, they really are in a position where they could go anywhere in their backcourt that they want to. You were asking me, would they be afraid of getting, another ball handler? Absolutely not. He can play on or off ball. And they have Dort, who is a fucking Swiss Army knife. He's basically, like Marcus Smart level, but on a dirt contract. So
the shots that he was making against the Raptors, those threes.
When he starts to feel it, you just laugh. You're like, I'm gonna watch this for a bit.
I love how even the Raptor announcers like, oh yeah, remember when they said this guy couldn't shoot?
Yeah, that's because we all watched it in the playoffs when he went like 0 of 9 from 3, and he just kept ripping them. Don't care.
He had Rocket syndrome.
Bubble. But yes.
He had Rocket syndrome. It's okay. Happens to the best of us.
I love him, but that's the thing. Like, this is a team where, because of their versatility, they don't need to do anything specific. They can just take BPA, and that's why I feel so strongly about like people who could fall in this class, because that's who they should be looking at. That's if they see these guys falling, like someone who I think would be interesting. Like if you think this team just needs scoring, like you could look at a Booknight, you could look at a Cam Thomas, you could look at these guys who are literally just walking buckets.
I mean,
go, we're gonna go get him wherever he's at.
Cam Thomas could be there at 31. Like
There's
now,
a chance he could fall.
Tankathon has him at 30.
Yep.
Like, I'll ask you, Cam Thomas, if they wanted to zero in on him, would they have to trade up for him, or could they get him at 31?
No, I don't think he goes 31.
Okay.
Again, my big board different than others, and it gets much clearer as we hit rumor time.
Yeah.
As the draft gets closer, like you know how I got the what pick was that? The Utah Grayson Allen one.
Yep.
Like how I knew that was locked in. Like
you listen to the tea leaves.
I listen to the tea leaves.
Yeah.
You find out early because stuff gets leaked, and a lot of things start adding up all of a sudden with what's going on. By the way, like all that shit happens within about 2 weeks of the draft. That's the same way that the Bulls and Patrick Williams happened.
Yeah.
2 weeks to go. Those individual workouts are wrapping up. The interviews are done. All of a sudden, things start happening. You're like,
It's kind of like how on the NFL side, we're like right now, there are things that I'm strong about. Number one, that Mac Jones is going to the 49ers. Number two, that like here are I know this is NBA, but like draft wise relatable. Like we are just a week away, almost a week away from the NFL draft. There are 3 things I'm confident on, Dave, with everything. And yet again, we say smoke screens and stuff, but I'm confident the Niners are going to go with Mac Jones because of stuff that we've talked about. I think that the Steelers are going to be the team to trade up for Justin Fields. I think they really I believe that Mike Tomlin, when I heard Mike Tomlin having a relationship with Justin Fields and talking to him at the Pro Day, I'm like, that's the one they're zeroing in on. And then also, because of everything, I think the Bears are going to trade up for a quarterback. Like, they shouldn't, but they will. Like, that's the thing. When you get closer to the draft, that's when it's like, okay, these things come out.
Colin Cowherd's soon-to-be son-in-law.
That's who I would take. I would trade up for Trey Lance from the Bears.
I think that... Could you imagine her having to rep the Bears as a low-key team that he loves? That would kill him. That would burn a hole in his heart.
Yep.
It would be great.
Yep. David, I would love to see him burn from the inside out.
But no, getting back to Thunder.
Yeah.
As far as, the only way how could the Thunder fuck this up? That's my question.
They can't.
If they take Luka Garza, if they take Corey Kispert, if they take these finished role players
now
who are already there, this year's Cam Johnson for me is Isaiah Livers out of Michigan.
Can they really?
I think he's incredibly underrated.
Can they really fuck up with Luka Garza if they take him at 56? Or I'm sorry, 55?
Yeah, 55. It's
because I don't see them taking him at 31 or 35.
I think that's where they would fuck up if they took him before then.
Yeah.
At 55, I would still go for a draft and stash. I think there's a handful of European players who are in their late teens who I would rather have draft rights on.
Like I'm gonna fuck up his name. The kid from BC Nevesic, the Ariel Haporti. He's 15.
Not years old.
Oh, I'm sorry, 19.
I was like, he's not 15.
I was like, I thought it said 15. No, he's 19. You also have the kid from Croatia, Roko, who is 18 that you mentioned. Yeah.
Are you talking about Rokas Jubi? I can't say his last name, but Jay, the point guard.
No, this is a power forward.
Are you talking about Roko Prkicin?
That one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the power forward.
So Rokas is a point guard overseas who 19-year-old kid looks like he has some massive upside, but he has still got a couple of years probably before he will, they should pull him over. I think I would absolutely love him if they got him at 55. I think Roko will probably go that 30 to 35 range. I think teams aren't going to be all in on him being a first-round talent, but his numbers are unignorable. You cannot look away and pretend that you don't see the production that he is having overseas.
Yeah.
I think that is something that you have to take him 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. I think that is 100% where he goes. I feel so strongly about that. And I think that's a great value for where he's at. Even if he misses, don't even care. That is something that you can't take a shot at.
Yeah.
In the chat, professional, Marcus Bagley.
I would take Quaid over him.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's a great
I was going to say, I would take Quaid over him at 31 because of...
Okay, so we're talking 30.
Yeah. The 31. I like with Quaid is the defense that he adds. Bagley, I don't think he adds anywhere near the defense that I'd be getting from Nemitas Quaid at 31.
Well, different positions. Let's just asterisk that out the gates.
Power forward center, right? Bagley's a power forward like
Lil Bagley, I think he plays
Bagley.
Smaller.
Okay.
Let me double check.
That could be me putting him in a box that he's not in. Because I will say, didn't watch a lot of Marcus Bagley this year.
Yep, 6'8". He's a wang.
Okay. Yet again, though, that's the thing. Are they gonna?
Are
they just gonna load up on wings and shooters, or at some point they're gonna have to take a big in this draft?
I mean, do you not love Moses Brown?
Moses Brown, Moses Brown.
I don't.
It's like
I don't settle for Moses
He's
Brown.
too hot or cold right now. Like if I think Nemina's Quaid, like the two guys that I think of from the bigs, and this is in the second round.
Yeah.
Quaid at 31 or 35. And then
say my guy's name.
What? Who?
Mamu
could be there.
Mamu 100%. Could you imagine his passing on this team?
Yeah.
Ooh.
But I'm gonna go with
we're looking defense, which is not Mamu's direction.
Yeah. For 56 though, I would almost go with another homer pick for me. I don't think he gets drafted. I think he's declaring for the draft. I think he'll get input and he'll come back to school, or at least I'm hoping. But like if Kofi Coburn signs an agent, I get 56. Like you can throw a dart at the board and try it because dude's got the body. Dude's got the body. He's got the frame. Like, and if this team's going to be a project anyways, like the second round is where I would take shots at the board. And like if I have all this wings and guards already, and I'm adding that too in the first round.
Right.
With my bigs, I would want to add guys to where it's like they come to the hole, they're getting stopped, or they are feeling it. Like I want defensive juggernauts. Not juggernauts too big of a word, but you know what I mean.
Rim
defensive
protector.
presences at the center.
You want a rim protector. You got someone to make sure it's not an easy trip to the hole.
Yep.
I get it. Professional. My thing is like if we're talking about wings out there, and you're saying, Bagley as a wing, Josh Christopher as a wing. A lot of people like that Arizona team. Good team. What I would ask is why not go for a better scoring wing in someone like a Justin Champagne? Like, why? I really liked him, and I think that he's
out of Pitt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like him. I think he's incredibly efficient. He's grown year over year. I think he has good size. I think he's 6'6", like barefoot measuring. So like he'll play the 2 to 3. I think he's someone who would be an excellent value if they got him at like 35. I think if I'm looking for like a second round wing, I want someone who can score at the next level guaranteed, or someone who like you have to have that definable quality as a second round pick in order for me to have a lot of faith in you. Like you can't come with like Bagley's got all around game, but no one area excels off the charts to me. Like he's got a shot, but it's not excellent. He can move the ball. He can move off ball as a slasher, but he's not a dominant guy going to the rim. Like if you break down his game, I don't see that one area that's like, that's why I want him. I think Justin is someone who is absolutely got a fucking killer shot. I think that will translate at the NBA level. I think I see a little Shake Milton in his offensive game. I think that he's someone who can come off as a bench ball handler, but you don't have to play him at the 1. You know, it's something that gives you a little bit of extra. So I love him going in the second round. And I think he's someone who a lot of people locked in Chris Duarte. I don't know how to, is it?
I usually say Duarte.
I
could be wrong.
As one of the best shooters in this draft in the first round, going, late teens to 30. I think if I'm going second round, he's the guy who I would focus in on as far as being that scorer coming off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I'm looking in the second round, a lot of the guys I'm looking at though are a lot of like they could have potential, but like I don't like the thing you said. Can they score at the next level?
Yeah,
I don't know if I could say it for sure. Like in college, I liked an Austin Reeves at Oklahoma. Kid can shoot. Kid could lead an offense. Kid could score. He's a 6'5" shooting guard. I liked Ron Harper Jr. at Rutgers. I think though that he comes back. Unless he's signed an agent, I haven't seen anything. I think he gets feedback. I think he comes back to Rutgers, and then we talk about him next year.
Same with little Pippen.
And probably the only other one is like I liked Aaron Henry, or I liked even
Aaron
Josh
Henry is
Petty.
a riser right now.
Yeah, like,
I think his defense is legitimate. He does everything else okay enough. He's not excellent on the offensive side of the ball, but he's not lost either.
do you think Petty also is like someone that like he's one that yet again at Alabama I thought was a little hot and cold. It was also Alabama. Yeah. They had 3 different guys to where it's like one of them scores, they win. Like it didn't have to be Petty each and every night.
No, I think Petty could. I don't love him, but I see him being like a 40s kind of guy. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. 30 wouldn't be a reach, but it also doesn't excite me. I don't know. That one's not perfect for me.
Is there anything you think we have not hit or that we should hit before we wrap up? Because we are getting over the hour mark.
What is your ideal walk away here as a Thunder? Are you saying it's a situation where we're going to land 2 top 10 picks and get game changers, or would you be upset like we always are with a team that has all this ammo and doesn't move up? Would that, I guess, is that your line for success? If they move up and they get 2 top 10 picks, it's a win. If they stay steady, then it's a loss. Or obviously names you have to obviously. This is purely just for speculation side. Like I know if they land somebody who is like as good as fucking Joker in the second round, then obviously it's a fucking win 10 years from now or 5 years from now. But like we're just saying, for draft night experience.
Yeah, this is the team that has the most fluidity because they can move up, move down. They have the 5 picks next year. They can use some of those to move up if they want to. Like the only 2 for sure things that I would want from this team is to be in a position for Cade or Mobley. Yet again, lottery determines that, whether you're 1 or 2. The other thing is it's an or for both of them. Getting one of Cade or Mobley, and depending on who you get there, getting one of Quatus or Io. Now, Io might be out of the question. He might rise, so it might be a Quata there, but like those are guys that I've kind of zeroed in with the Thunder to where it's like, I mean...
they need scoring. Like, let's be honest. That's one thing that Io would thrive on them. He can take over and shoot. He can make buckets. He can create buckets.
And I would trade, if you could trade up for him, I would even trade up for him. Like, that's the thing. Where I think Io is not going to be in there in the second. I'm the homer guy. I think he's going to be a first-round pick. Like, especially because, like I've been saying, there's going to be a playoff team that's going to be like, dude, we could need a score even if it's off the bench, and that's what Io can 100%. Do, is score.
100%.
What would you say?
If they get 1-5, I mean, fucking just, like, walk out, pop bottles, have yourself a grand time, because there's no way this team can get 1-5.
What if they get like 5-6? What if they get like 5-6?
I would take it.
Okay.
Like, I would take it. I wouldn't hate it. I think you have a lot of options there. I think Barnes is someone who intrigues me. I'd be curious to see if they would be willing to run Barnes and Baisley together, or what that would actually be like at the next level. Like, it gives them questions or it raises questions for them. But I think that would be still a success overall. Like, the thing here I'm concerned with is, how do you make sure you don't fall into the pitfall of the Minnesota Timberwolves? How do you be that team with all these top picks and none of the wins?
Yeah.
How do you avoid that pitfall? And that's my thing. And I think that they've obviously come about this in different ways. Timberwolves have had Cat. They went out and traded for D'Lo. They had Wiggins, obviously. Like, they've gone through different iterations. Now they have Anthony Edwards. But the constant the whole time has just been they suck.
Yeah.
Outside of the Jimmy Butler year. So if you are at a point where you feel like Shea is your guy, the difference between Shea and Cat's a generational offensive talent at the 5.
Yeah.
Shea's one of the most well-rounded guards of our, of this young generation.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel better because of defense, if I'm being blatantly honest with you. But, like, how do you make sure as a young team with all these picks to not be at the bottom forever?
It's true. Like, it's kind of like what I've thought about with the Bulls too. Bulls different situation, but like
we're stuck in mid-range hell.
I think it also comes down to who's your coach. Like the guy, I can't think of the name. The guy that they have now, isn't he the? Oh, I gotta look it up. Isn't he the guy that used to be with the Florida Gators and was someone? Let's see. Where was he before he was a Thunder guy? I thought he was with Florida. Okay, yeah, he was an assistant with Florida under Billy Donovan. Then he was the Oklahoma Blue, the G League coach from 14 to 19. Then he was an Oklahoma assistant.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, is he the guy? Is he the guy? Like, that's another thing you need to think about. Who's going to be the coach to mold this team? Like,
I mean, he's great working with the younger talent because he had the experience in the G League. He was probably familiar with a lot of the guys in this deeper roster. So that's great. But you're right. If the time comes and they're peaking, you got to know when to pull the cord.
Yeah. Like, the only other situation I pulled up, Dave, I was trying to get it to where the Thunder ended 5-6, but I couldn't get it. Best I got was 5-8. If they're 5-8, the top four then would be Kings at 1, Pelicans at 2, Bulls at 3 in this situation, Warriors then at 4. Any of those four teams, do any of those four teams take a trade and get 5-8 and give up their top 4 pick? I don't think so. Like, I don't think the Kings would give up on Cade.
No.
The Pelicans, I don't think they give up on Mobley. Like,
no, they desperately need him.
The Bulls, I mean, yet again, they could if they don't like Suggs.
I mean, if Zach is being moved next, then yeah, sure, I'll trade back a little bit.
Yeah, like,
but I mean, Suggs seems like the surefire pick there. Like that's,
like, I mean, that's the thing. I don't know. We talked about trade up. I don't think if they're going to get Cade or Evan, they're going to have the 1 or 2 pick.
Yep.
That's just what it's going to be. Or 3.
3. Thank you.
Because of JG 4. Because Dave loves this JG.
I'm just saying. Why would you pass up on Kobe Bryant Jr.?
Kobe Bryant Jr. Quick question about that, by the way. Is that a big deal, no deal, big deal, little deal, no deal that the Kobe Bryant estate and Vanessa Bryant pulled Kobe's partnership with Nike?
I think
it's a big deal.
I'd say so.
Okay, because I saw that today and I was like, that just means he can't be used in commercials, right? With Nike.
That means there won't be any new Kobe shoes dropping.
Okay, that makes sense.
I guess the concern was that they were doing too many limited releases, and she wanted his shoe to be like more of an accessible thing for people.
Okay. So
I think they're probably going to shop around.
Kobe fans.
Yeah, I think they're going to shop around and try to make a deal with like Adidas. Okay. I'm hoping it's not a Steph Curry style shoe going forward.
Do you see the Zions?
I did see the Zions.
Thoughts on the Zions?
My initial reaction, I didn't love them. I didn't hate them. I just thought they were all right. Okay. I saw the colorways. Yeah. A little bit happier with that, with different colorways. I think that there's one that pops.
I'm buying them. I'm buying a pair of Zions when I can.
I mean, that's fine. That's fine. They're better than the Steph Currys.
Oh, the Steph Currys the black Steph Currys were fire, Dave.
Ricky,
not the white ones. The white ones were dad shoes. The black ones were fire.
Those were dad shoes.
The black ones were fire, bro.
They were still dad shoes.
No, the white ones were the dad shoes.
They were still dad shoes. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah, the white ones were dad shoes. I'm agreeing with you.
No, the Steph ones were dad shoes.
No, I don't know if I got the Steph ones.
That's yeah, they are.
Steph Curry bought his shoe. It was a lot of money, and it was great shoes. I loved them. But that's going to do it for us. We have now gone an hour and 11 minutes or around there. Great draft talk. I knew this would take a while. Draft talk always takes a while because at the end we just start talking prospects.
They have 5 picks.
Yeah.
We could talk about anyone in the draft, and it doesn't matter. Yeah. So that we just kind of spattered the whole board of, these guys could be good on their team. You know why anyone could be good on the Thunder? Because they'll play anyone. As opposed to a team like, New York Knicks, where they'll be like, we got a prospect, Nobi Toppin, who was taken top 10. Motherfucker barely hits the ground. Yeah, he was the oldest, most NBA-ready product out of that grouping.
Could you imagine if they had Zion? I mean, they wouldn't have RJ, but if they had Zion instead of Obi.
Yeah.
Who would they take in this time? All the speculations. But thank you guys for doing what you do. Remember, join the Discord if you are not in it already. Link down below, !Discord into Twitch chat. Get you that link. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids. That's how you can support us or throw us a sub on Twitch. Thank you to our Patreon sponsor, Pat Hill. We're on Twitch, twitch.tv/MVPvids. We're on YouTube at MVP Sports. Dave, enjoy yourself. You get a couple days off. You get 2
Thanks.
days off while Jake and I do MLB while we get ready for the NFL. And we'll see. Friday should be you and Soapy, but I've already talked to Jake, and it's kind of like the dual parents. I took custody of you today. If Soaps isn't here, Jake's going to take custody of you on Friday, champ. So we will have someone with Dave on Friday.
I will go like full Kuiper, McShay, draft analyst mode with him. Like Soaps was just throwing me names. She's just like, go. And I was fine with that. So
and on Friday, obviously, it would be, I think, the Toronto Raptors are the next team in our draft quest. But thank you for everything you guys do, and as always, have a good day, everybody.
WPN.